The man at the center of Pennsylvania's push for statute of limitations reform and fighting sex abuse in the Catholic Church recently visited the Vatican. State Representative Mark Rozzi attended the Global Catholic Summit in late February, and he joins us this morning on the FOX43 Capitol Beat. Good morning, Mark. Thanks for joining us again. As someone who's gone through what you've gone through, a survivor of sexual abuse within the church, you've told me you've had friends commit suicide because of their abuse. What was it like to be in the Vatican as they're discussing exactly what you've gone through for most of your life?
It was amazing, really. I mean, to be able to meet all the victims from around the world, to gather and have meetings to discuss the policies that the church were looking to implement was a privilege for me to go there and represent Pennsylvania.
How are you different today from when you left for Italy?
Well, I mean, it has been a soul journey for me. I mean, not only just going to the Vatican and working with the other members of clerical abuse, but visiting my father's hometown in Ascoli Piceno and finally freeing myself of, for the first time ever. I mean, I've never said this publicly before, but I've always considered myself a victim, and from that moment on, I said I'm never going to allow myself to be that. I'm going to be a survivor. And so it really was a spiritual journey for me.
What did you take from what the Pope said during this summit, and what did you learn from him and I guess the greater picture of how the Vatican is handling this issue?
I think they're trying to do the right job to protect kids moving forward. I think our bishops in the United States have been doing a better job protecting kids. And I think the people in the United States understand that. Like, okay, we get it. You're protecting kids. But what the Vatican and the Pope really missed out on here is that the bishops, we know that they aided and abetted these egregious crimes, and we want them to be held responsible. And that just did not happen in this forum that they had. So we would like, instead of the Pope accepting resignations and then patting people like McCarrick on the back and saying, hey, you did a great job, we would like to see the Pope actually remove bishops who egregiously covered up these crimes.
Last year, your statute of limitations bill died in the Senate again.
Right.
Why?
I mean, it was down to one vote, honestly. I think we took it up to the very last minute of session, and we believe that we had the votes to pass the bill. Of course, Senator Scarnati on the other side, he had different views of what should pass, and we got to the impasse where I held one position, he held the other position, and we weren't able to accomplish anything.
And his big position has been from the start the retroactivity clause. And,
right.
And we reached out to Senator Scarnati, who has opposed this bill for years. He gave us a statement, which we're going to put the entire statement up on our website, but this is just in part accusing the other side of not negotiating previous bills in good faith. He said that no one has reached out to him to negotiate this current round, and he's waiting to hear back from someone. He went on to add that the Victims' Compensation Fund, which the church is currently paying out victims, will be how this issue is judged upon in the future. Your response to that?
We've been trying to reach out to Senator Scarnati multiple times to have meetings to discuss with him. And I get it. He's upset the way session ended. I don't think what happened at the end of last session was good for either of us. I think that we would have liked to get something accomplished. We didn't. He's upset about that. I get that. But at the same time, he knows the position of victims and survivors of sexual abuse here, that we want our day in court. And the compensation funds are good for some victims, and I said that I support the compensation funds, but some victims want to be able to depose their predators, depose bishops, to gain more information about how and why this has happened to them. So compensation funds do not do that. Compensation funds literally continue the cover-up of victims.
Do you plan on reintroducing the bill as it has been the last couple of years?
Well, we're trying to learn from what Corman and Scarnati have said, and that if we pass the same thing again, that the same thing is going to happen again. I don't want to see that happen. So we've been working with leaders in the House, Majority Leader Cutler and other members, to find out what we can pass that would be a little bit different than what we passed before.
And this is different perspective from you, who you have told me multiple times it's kind of, this is the bill we're going to go with, or it's nothing at all. You're saying this is different now.
I think we have to take a different course here. I mean, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I mean, the basis is still going to be the same. We want to eliminate the criminal statute moving forward. We want to move civil to at least from 30 to 55. We want to, one of their biggest arguments was gross negligence versus negligence with public and private. So we're going to make that both gross negligent. But when we look at the 2-year window, I mean, that is something that we have dug in very hard for, and that's something that we believe all victims, not just Catholic clergy victims. What the Catholic Conference and the Insurance Federation is doing is blocking all victims from justice.
Is that your line in the sand? And if that's the case, isn't that kind of kind of butt heads with exactly why we're in this position to begin with?
Their biggest argument was the constitutionality. And so we're going to try to rework the bill a little bit to take that constitutional question out of it. And then we're going to put it in front of them and see what they have to say now.
How quickly do you expect this to be up in the House or the Senate?
I'm hoping to actually get my bill up and running this week. So, I just wanted to make sure that we heard from everybody and decided, hey, what is the best path forward for all victims? And I've reached out to the Senator Scarnati, even as of last night, again, and sent him a message that I sent him another message previously about 3 weeks ago, just saying, hey, Joe, let's just get together, sit down, talk about this. I think that we have a solution here that we can work on.
State Representative Mark Rozzi, thank you so much for joining us on the Capitol Beat. Really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Fox 43 Morning News will be right back.